This episode is sponsored by Copilot. I'll talk about that later in the video. Hello, brains. I have a confession to make. As many tools as I have, and as good as I've gotten at achieving the things that I want to achieve, I still can't play my guitar. In most of my life, I have to actively accommodate my ADHD. So it's really nice to have at least one area where I don't, because Copilot does that for me. With Copilot, I have a fitness coach who sets up my workouts for me based on the equipment I already have. Although, I'm about to get some 15-pound weights because I've finally been consistent enough with my workouts to use them. That is a first for me. Right, I need to go get those. My coach checks in with me regularly, and now Copilot has this new feature where I have the option to let her know after every exercise how it felt and how many more I could do, so she can adjust my workouts accordingly. Not only that, it helped me be mindful of my own limits and progress. That feature is what helped me realize I was ready for heavier weights, and ask her about it. I love being able to work out from home, on my own schedule, but still get the accountability and personal support I need to stick to a fitness routine. My coach checks in with me regularly and ensures the workouts I'm doing each week are a good fit for me and my current goals. She even mixes it up when I get bored and includes some fun and easy extras I can do whenever I want. The balance of structure and flexibility works really well for my ADHD. If you'd like to try Copilot, click my Copilot link to get 14 days free with your own expert fitness and health coach. Back to the video. For a long time, it was just kind of the norm for me that I don't succeed at stuff. I have the ability to be good at these things, but I can't stick to them long enough to actually get good at them, I guess. For most of my life, it was one failure after another, which is why I started the channel in the first place. I was just tired of failing at everything. I was tired of feeling like I was bad at everything that I did. I can't seem to succeed at things, but there is one thing that I have succeeded at, and that is what I do here. Like, I am good at what I do. I'm good at science communication. I have a successful YouTube channel. I just finished writing a book. Like, this is the most successful I've ever been. Like, I have never followed through on something for years. I have never finished a huge project before, and I did. I finished learning about my brain, and I finished the book. So now that I'm finished with the book, I kind of wanted to take what I know about what helped me be successful here and apply it to other areas of my life that are also important to me. Learning how to play the guitar, to my hobbies, to things that I want to do, like other meaningful things. I want a life outside of it. Like, I want that work-life balance. I want to be able to do other things. And so I think it comes down to really a few different principles, maybe 3. One is make sure you're enjoying it. I learned really early on with the channel that, like, it was difficult for me to do certain things. Sitting down and writing sometimes felt like torture. It was this, like, long and forever taking process of me trying to put what I wanted to say into words and then make it happen. So one of the things that I did was I just kind of naturally started rewarding myself for doing it. There's this Chinese food place next to the restaurant where I worked, and they had a late night happy hour. So I would go over there after work, and I would bring my laptop, and I would just write, but I would order stuff off their happy hour menu. I would order like some soup, or I'd order some tea, and I would sit there and write. And I started associating writing with something positive, which is like I got to treat myself. I couldn't really afford to go out to eat at that point, but like it was late night happy hour. I had just made money waiting tables, so like I could spend a little bit of it. I also started learning to enjoy even the process of when things suck. Like, there's always a part in the process of writing that for me is really not fun. Like, I love coming up with ideas. I love seeing it come together. I love that point at which it's like clear, this is gonna work, this is gonna be good, this is gonna help people. But there is a serious part in between where I'm like, this is horrible. Why did anybody let me do this? I suck at this. Like, I just, all these negative messages of like, I'm gonna fail at this. And that part's not fun, but I've done it enough times that I just know that if I get through that part, I will get to the part where I'm like, oh, actually, okay, now I like this. Now this is good. And so I'm trying to take that and apply it to other things. Like, when I go and learn how to play an instrument, if there's a piece of music where like I sit down, I'm excited, and it's a new piece of music and I can't wait to play it. If I get to the point where I'm like, this sucks, I don't know what I'm doing, this is really hard, I know from my experience with writing that if I push through that and keep going, that at some point I will get to that part where I do know how to play it and it's actually fun to play. It's finding some joy, and like, I guess mindfulness helps with that. Just knowing what part you're at and where you're at with it, I think is really helpful. But then also just pairing it with something positive or doing parts you like. I did realize I don't actually think I like
playing guitar. It hurts my fingers, and I know that that goes away after a while, but I also don't like having calluses on my hands. But I do enjoy giving massages to people, and so if I have callous fingers, then it doesn't feel as good. So I don't actually think that I want to get good at playing guitar, but I do really like playing piano. Yeah, part of it is like, do you even like doing the thing, or do you like the idea of it? The reality of the situation is just like, maybe that's just not for me. Maybe I will switch to piano. So I started playing piano instead, which is something that is already enjoyable for me. Like day one, I can sit down and bang on some keys. And then, yeah, I find that enjoyable process of like, okay, cool. If this part is really difficult for me, I know that if I keep going, because I have that experience now, I know that if I keep going, I will get to the point where it's not hard anymore. The other part is knowing that you don't have to be good at everything. Sometimes you can just do things because they're enjoyable. We can't just say, well, this is what I should do, so I'm gonna do it. Our brains don't work that way. We're interest-based learners and doers, and we don't go by what's important. We go by what's urgent and a personal interest and new and novel and fun, stimulating. So yeah, I guess that's tip number one, is make sure you enjoy it. Even when work is hard, I still get to pick topics that I like. I still get to talk about what I want to talk about or go research something I'm currently interested in. And yeah, there's a lot of hard work involved, but there's still something enjoyable about it. And I think that's why I've been able to stick to it. The second thing that I know to do now is to set myself up for success. And a lot of that is putting supports in place or putting some scaffolding in place. If I wanted to get good at a new job, I wouldn't just go on day one and be like, let me just be good at this job. Like, I would consider what skills are going to be needed. What do I need to do to be good at this job? And what kind of supports do I need? I know that the accountability from having to put out a video every week at the beginning of this channel was really helpful. And so if I wanted to apply that to other aspects of my life, I would need some sort of weekly accountability. Maybe I get a piano teacher, or maybe I have a friend who also is interested in learning piano, and we do a once a week, like, hey, let's show each other what we learned kind of thing. But I know that I'm going to need to put accountability in place if that's something I want to do. If I want to be good at playing the piano, I can kind of isolate the certain aspects of it. I can get good at reading music, or I can get good at improvising, or I can work on my timing. Like, some of that is going to be tedious and boring, but the cool thing is if you work on one skill at a time, you can kind of make progress faster in that one skill, because you're just focusing on one thing, than if you're just trying to get good at the thing overall. But the other thing is, if you level up one of those skills, then when you go back to doing the thing overall, you're gonna progress faster overall. A lot of it's silly stuff, right? Like, a lot of people with ADHD feel uncomfortable with this, but I'm shameless at this point. Like, if I want to put stickers on the keys that are fun and shiny and tell me what letters they are, and that like helps me feel competent and successful at it, like, why not? Ultimately, what I would love to do is just be able to sit down and, I don't know, whatever I'm feeling that day, just like play out my feelings and just like kind of get in the flow and not have to do this stop and start thing. I can get there, but like working backwards from there, like, what do I need to be able to get to that point? The third thing that I've realized is really important is to start to recognize where your barriers are and get really specific about it. I did a video about this. It's something called a barrier log. Every time that I ran into an obstacle at work, I wrote it down. And then I started to notice a pattern where a lot of them were the day that I was shooting, because I was trying to do everything by myself. I was trying to run the camera and do my hair and do my makeup. It wasn't a good use of my time, and it was also really frustrating, and it was a huge barrier. So I started hiring somebody and just having somebody on set. The tendency is to blame ourselves for not doing a thing. In reality, there are a lot of accessibility issues for people with ADHD. And so making a list of like, where are those issues for you? And then removing them, I think, can help a lot. This is an experiment. At the end of the day, I think like it's gonna be an interesting thing to try. I've never felt like I was good enough at my job that I could take some of that effort and direct it to something else, but I think I want to now. Like, maybe it's not guitar, but I would like to get good at piano. Yes, I can't break it out around a campfire. I have to let go of that romantic idea, but hey, I have a ukulele. Thank you to my brain advocates and all my Patreon brains for continuing to support this channel through this really kind of weird and difficult couple of years. I'm really excited for the content that we're about to be able to put out, not just this kind of content, but also getting back to our science communication videos where we really do deep dives into research. If you're interested in those types of videos, like, subscribe, click all the things, and I will see you next video. Bye, brains.
Oh, and if you want to try out Copilot, again, links in the description.